Káàbọ̀, and welcome to another episode of Voices of IWA. I am your host, Iya Omisegun, and Voices of IWA is a podcast that amplifies the voices of women throughout the African diaspora, those of us who are making a conscious effort to practice and to study our African and ancestral traditions. This first season of Voices of IWA has been dedicated to the role of women throughout our traditions. We've specifically been looking at the Yoruba traditions because that is actually the one that I practice. As we grow, though, we do want to make sure that we incorporate other traditions. So just keep that in mind. But this season, we have been talking about the role of mother, the role of creator, the role of Iyalosha, Iyanifa. We just got finished talking about wife and Apetebi. And so as we continue this conversation, we know that it is very, very important for us to have this conversation that we're about to have today. And that is on understanding the Iyami, the mothers of the night. And in the studio with me today, I'm very honored to have my big sisters in this tradition say yes. Like every time I say this, right? Every time my elders or people that I love and care about, I'll be like, yeah, no problem, I'll do it. I'll be like, really? Because you could just be like, I got something else to do. No. So Iyatoki, you are my first woman teacher, right?
Oh,
you
wow.
Were the first, everybody's
woman teacher. She's like the Jesus of the Orisha.
Like, for real. And you
quite.
absolutely, you absolutely have played a huge role in my my study and my understanding of the traditions. So I appreciate you being here.
That's a big honor.
I'm in any class you teach when you feel like messing with people. And I'm happy that you said yes. Erelu. And that you all would be here. So the way we start is we first just introduce yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we have people that live all over, right? Not just in Atlanta. And then also just talk about how you got, how did you get your start in the traditions? Like, what was that like for you? That narrative has been really rich for people to connect to other women in the tradition.
My name is Iyanifa Osuntoki Adejumobi Odunade, affectionately kind of known as Mama Toki.
Yes,
everybody kind of knows me as that in and around Atlanta. I'm initiated to Ifa, Oshun, Olokun, and Egbe.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been involved here in the tradition for it was probably about 27 years almost. Got started in the tradition by, I was born and raised in Detroit and actually went to Gary. And I'm an editor as well. And I was an editor at the newspaper there in Gary, Indiana, and got introduced to a babalawo there. And after that, at first I was like, I don't know if I want to do this thing. It was, unfortunately, African tradition has been sensationalized.
Yeah.
And, I was very much a party to that, not knowing,
Mm-hmm.
But once I went to a particular bembe and I had a very strong spiritual interaction, and that was it. That was pretty much it. So since that time, came here to Atlanta and have been, practicing ever since.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched this show and everybody has this wonderful Pan-African Black Power background. Mine is a little different. It's a lot of layers to it. I'm sorry. But I just didn't have any experience growing up of like what it meant deeply to be African.
Mm-hmm.
And so my experience is a little different. I grew up in Atlanta, of course, and
tell them who you are, Iya.
It's weird. So I think the first moment that I just remember as a little child saying, I'm going to go to Africa someday. I don't know why. I just said it, but really wasn't serious about it. When I first attended junior college, I had a professor that taught world history, and he was married to a Nigerian. And so he started making us read the story of Mansa Musa, Equiano's journey, things like that, and just kept expressing the importance of re-Africanization, reading Mama Rimba's books, things like that. So ended up in graduate school going to, I was at Georgia State, and we had a program that was named after Alonzo Krim, that used to be my superintendent when I was in high school. So by shade to him. And there in a class, his brother came in, and his name is Stephen Jones. And everybody called him my G-Shot face. Right. He's a real light-skinned brother, but he's up here talking about African-centered education. So I'm just like, this is interesting. And he remember him announcing himself, I'm a Babalawo. But I never explored it anymore after that. And so had a friend, his name is Tim. He's a local worshiper. And was just going through some things. And he just kept telling me, the things that you're doing, that's not who you are. And I need you to go and see this person. And so I, just like everybody else, had a reading by my first godfather, Chief Ogunlade, Omisegun of Atlanta. And I just remember him saying the importance of you reconnecting to your mother. So I hadn't seen my mother since I was, really young. We didn't interact as much. So like 30, 31 at that time. And I went to see my mother, and I asked her about my grandmother, who died before I was born, of course. And so I had a flat tire at her house, and the people around her said, go to this gravel road, and there's a man that fixed tires. So I went to that gravel road, and there was a man there, and he looked at me and he called me by my birth name. And I'm like, how do you know me? And he's just like, your mother is my sister. Now, mind you, these two people are around the corner from each other and don't know that they're around the corner from each other, because they hadn't seen each other since I was like 8.
That's crazy.
And so when he said that, and I was like, well, so what's my grandmother's name? Because I just asked my mother, and he said her name is Dora, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, get in the car. So we rode around to my mother's house, and my mother was like, Willie. And he was like, Gladys. And so it was the whole thing. So I was like, oh, okay, this EFI stuff is kind of real, right? And so that's what pulled me closer. To say this is a journey that I want to take, because that's probably like the realest experience out of all that I've had to this very day. Wow. To see how EFI works and how EFI can pull things together for you. So wasn't as strong as a Black Power Pan-Africans as most of you, but they let me in. I got in the door. I got in the gate. It's okay.
It's pretty magical. Okay, so let's start down this road of the role of Iyami. When we say Iyami, I think that people start to twitch and get uncomfortable. And, I think there's a lot of misconceptions, right? You recently wrote a book on Iyami that deals with some of those misconceptions. So let's talk a little bit about the role of Iyami in our African traditions. Who are they? Who are the Iyami, and why are they important? The answer that I usually give people, just the kind of, I guess, trite answer, the compact answer, is that they're a collective of concentrated female forces and power. And they were commissioned and, of course, created by our creator, Odunade, in a way to police and to right some of the wrongs of the universe. I think that's like the kind of a basis answer. It's, there's a lot of different layers of that, but that's kind of the basis answer I usually give people to start.
And I absolutely agree. I like the word, the police, regulators, whatever you want to say. I think when you started the question or started the conversation, we were talking about how people respond to the Iyami energy. And so rest in peace, Baba Eshuleke, because, he started this movement with Eshu is not Satan. So today I'm starting a movement, Iyami are not witches. Because that's the problem, is that that's what brings the fear and the anxiety, is because people often use the word witches. And even in this book that I wrote, I just want to dismantle that word. I don't want us to use it anymore because it's so inaccurate and it's not indicative of what Iyami are at all. The Iyami, those energies sit in a space that we call Irona, which is not what we consider a room or what people may say heaven, and it's not earth. It's like in between. And what people don't realize is that there's nothing evil or wicked about Iyami. There are jogums, there's death, there's sickness, there's loss, there's all of these things, but they are entities within their own right. The Iyami don't have a purse or pocketbook with these things that they're just going around and tossing on everybody. However, the Iyami, as she's saying, the police, they're regulators. So when things are not right, or when people are not treating other human beings right with respect, or with whatever kindness, gentleness, whatever it is the Iyami that can negotiate with the Ajoguns, with all of these negative spirits to say, this person is doing the right thing. This person is being falsely accused of this thing. Don't attack this person. But they also have the power to say, this person is right. The accusations are right on target. I will release you. I will
hold them accountable.
To do what it is that you do. So just the misconception that the Iyami are the ones carrying the purse of evil and wickedness is something that, I hope that we can be able to achieve in this conversation today.
Yeah.
Iyami are not witches.
Yeah, absolutely. And it needs to be dispelled because I think that they are misunderstood in the same way that Eshu is misunderstood. Of course, the movement that Iya was referring to, Eshu is not Satan. With the coming of the Abrahamic traditions into Yoruba land, a lot of concepts were misconstrued. And I think that some people kind of clung to these erroneous kind of concepts, you know what I mean, to try to understand it, try to explain it. But their views were kind of warped by Christianity because in those narrow confines, you have good, you have evil. You don't have that in between space. You don't have that ahorita. You know what I'm saying? That that even Eshu or that Iyami would inhabit. To be in the in between, if you will.
Right.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned the fact that people equate the Iyami with witches. So if that is not the case, right? And Iya just talked about maybe how that has happened, right? As we start adopting other traditions, then there's a confusion, if you will, that happens. So if the Iyami are not witches, then what is a better term, right? What is the proper term for us to refer to them as?
I just call them the most powerful, gracious mothers. I have kind of, backed off of that word, that which is, type of word, because not so much because I have a problem with the word witch. I have a problem with the connotation.
Yes.
In that
the
is
negative
used
connotation.
Exactly.
And
that's happened, around the world, wherever there have been powerful women and the big three, traditions have come along. This is where, women the wise women, the ones who are the keepers of that particular kind of ashe, if you will, they're the ones who get demonized and burned and trying to, put into a narrow box. So I think that's kind of, happened in that case.
Because it even happens in Nigeria. I have been in Nigeria where people have been like, she's a witch. You know what I mean? So it's not just here, right? It's absolutely happened there and then been transferred here as well.
I think sometimes when we're trying to translate Yoruba language and concepts into English, there's a disconnect. And so people will try to come up with a word that will best help us to understand something.
Right.
And, the word witch is definitely a European, comes from a European background. And so, as she said, there are so many other things terms we can use. Elders of the night is a good one because that's when they are deliberating in the wee hours of the night. Iyami is good. Iyami Osoranga is
Mhm.
also
Iyami
good.
Osoranga.
So,
Mhm.
but witches is an abomination in my opinion. There's a song, Iyami Mohumio, Iyami Mohumio,
Mhm.
Bogbo Eyele, Mobo. I can't remember the song, but it was
Mhm.
Bogbo. Help me.
I haven't heard that one.
Eyele, Mobati. Something. I don't know, but I don't know the song itself. I learned it, but the actual song is saying that the mothers are bigger than us. They're greater than us.
Mhm.
They're more powerful than us.
Mhm.
And so basically instead of just trying to find a word in English to describe an entity that is more powerful than all of us is very difficult. And the type of powers to equate it to witchcraft or anything like that, like I said, is an abomination, and that's something that we have to stop. We just have to stop doing so.
Right. Going back on what you were saying in terms of, just the vastness of the mothers, even part of the Oriki is, Iyawo, Emilo Betty, you are the Awo, you know it all.
Yes.
You are the one who inhabits or has that mystery. I am like sheep. I don't know, so it's a way to definitely give homage to the vastness of that power.
I've always had a problem with women who are just like, like, I'm a witch, I'm a witch, I'm a witch, I'm a witch, and I'll, and I'll just be like, one thing that I do know is that the Iami don't like to be called out like that. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're a witch, right? Yeah. Then no, that's not how, that's not how they operate, right? There's a mystery there. Absolutely. And it's a mystery for a reason.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think sometimes within our traditions, like you said, as we have, as things have gained popularity, right, there's parts that we have taken and just misconstrued completely. And I think the Iami is definitely one of them.
I think it's interesting because it's really interesting because men use the word witch to dismiss the power of women. Then women use the word witch to enhance the power, to try to regain the power, to try to prove a point that we are powerful.
Right.
We are this or we are that. So it's just unfortunate that we have to what they call a society where you using that type of using words as your power when in essence is actually further demeaning the cause. So
right. So yeah, you were talking about or somehow I think we got into this space of where we were talking about like fear, right? You were talking about the role of the Iami and the fact that they are the police, right? And they're gonna go on the side of truth and what's right.
Righteousness.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
The side of righteousness, right? So would you say that it's good to have a healthy fear of the Iami, like, or especially us as women, right? Like embracing the parts of us that bond and connect with this energy as women. Like, should we be fearful? Should we be approaching with caution? Like, how should people approach that energy?
I think we should be fearful of gossip. We should be fearful of backbiting. We should be fearful of abuse. We should be fearful of lying. We should be fearful of stealing. We should be fearful of all of those things. We shouldn't be fearful of the Iyami because it's all of those things that can help you to meet the wrath of Ajogun, but there's no reason whatsoever that I can think of why you should fear the Iyami. You should fear bad character, bad behavior. That's my opinion.
I think that you definitely have to approach them with a healthy amount of respect.
I say,
but there's a misconception. Kind of going back into the misconception about the Iyami. But there are actually instances when the Iyami come to bless us.
I say,
and I think that particular aspect of the Iyami is not explored enough or not talked about enough. You don't hear it so much in Oduifa, but when you get down into, like a surface level Oduifa, but once you get down into Oduifa and into Odu Erendilogun, that's where you start to see those instances in which the Iyami have come or selected this person to be their special child or special pet, if you will. And even a lot of women, we have their power within us, whether we know it or not. But the power of the tongue, the ofoshe, is an aspect of that particular power, and it's important to use it. Yes, as I was saying, it's important to use it responsibly and to use your words, in a constructive manner.
The song, I got it. It's in my head. I have to sing it.
Yes.
Iyami mohumi o, Iyami mohumi. Bobo eleye motiba mole, Iyami mohumi. So it says it means they are greater than us. Sorry, I had to. My brain.
No, that's good. You had to get it out.
That says I had to get it out. But I just want to piggyback off of what she's saying or add to what she's saying. Like she's saying, the Iyami also everybody wants to use the Iyami as a form of punishment, of retaliation, of things like that. But you have to look at the material that we use to appease Iyami. So when we use eggs, we know that we are using eggs because we want to give birth to something. We want to create. We want to bring something into fruition. And so that is the whole point. And do we not give Iyami eggs? And when we cover those eggs with palm oil, apple, why are we giving apple? Because we want apple for total accomplishment in life. So here it is, we're giving Iyami an offering for us to be able to create, for us to be able to withstand some type of new beginning. And we also want to have total accomplishment of whatever this thing is that we're trying to create. So how do we equate Iyami with evil based on even what we're offering this? If we could just go that simple and think about what are we giving the Iyami for blessing or for offering, and it doesn't add up. The evil and the wickedness doesn't add up to what we're giving the offering for.
It's true. That's a great point. And still, I've been in the room in Nigeria, in other places where it is absolutely demonized, right? Like we're not it's really the word witch, right? I realize now that I'm even thinking about it, when I'm thinking about those times, it was she's a witch, not she's a member, not she's a, not nothing to do with the Iyami. That word wasn't used, right? So I think it's just going back to again, this whole episode is on understanding, right? Understanding the Iyami. We started to touch on some of the myths and misconceptions of the Iyami. So one of them being that they're all evil and they come to, kill and destroy things. We understand that that's not the case, right? You just stated that we should approach them with we approach them with the highest respect, right? But that's different than approaching in fear. Right. Absolutely. Are there any other myths that you all can think of that we might want to dispel in this conversation?
Well, I think one. I think all of anything surrounding wickedness or evilness or just misuse or misdirected power, because I guess the other myth that I can think of is like people tend to paint the Iyami as this reckless force, where indiscriminate, there's no discrimination is for who they attack, because and even using the word attack is also a myth also, but everything is everything. So on the Oponi Ifa, I think everybody, if you say Ifa, they look at Ifa as a peaceful, Gentile energy. And so, but even on the Oponi Ifa, the Iyami is represented there. And so if you would not pair Ifa or Arumalai with evil, then Arumalai would not allow anything evil or wicked represented on his main tool of how he gets his messages and how he resolves the problem for his people. So again, the whole thing of that is there's no discrimination, there's no discernment to the Iyami and who they attack is another myth. So I guess that's the only other one that I can think of.
Well, I can also think about even like the what the crowns used to look like in Yoruba land of the different Oba, different leaders or different areas. They used to be covered with depictions of birds, and it is because it at that time a person could not rule without the backing of the women. And Iyami, Oloye, the Iyami, our mothers who are the ones who own the birds, or the ones, so it's something that has been, kind of downplayed with time, but it was, a person could not occupy that seat of power without the sanction of the mothers or the women who, kind of represented the Iyami.
I think there's also a myth around initiation. Like I've been seeing more about that. People doing initiations for the Iyami, and or saying that like they are initiated to Iyami. In my experience, that is not something, well, at least not in our lineage, I'll say that, right? We don't initiate to Iyami, right? Like you said, all of us as women, we are connected to the energy, right? We can work with the energy, but to be initiated to that, like I don't know of that, but I have been seeing that lately.
That's a fad that's been happening for like the last couple of years. It's kind of it's been talked about for a while, but the last couple of years I've been seeing it, that kind of pop up. And I won't profess to know everything,
actually,
but one of our elder brothers, he was saying that he's like, women. I think sometimes women run to that and seek that because they have been hurt, they have been harmed, and they're looking for something to equalize or looking for something to protect themselves with or to or empower themselves with. And our brother Aikulola, he was, he told me a long time ago, he said, you don't have to seek that out. If you have good character, as Iya was saying, and if you are connected with your Orisha and connected with your Egbe,
yes,
you'll be a powerful person. There's a difference between strength and power. Strength is the ability to endure, pain. But power is where the change happens. And I think that people are looking to be powerful, and especially after being made to feel powerless.
Yeah,
I agree, and I don't want to roll my eyes on camera because I don't look like Shamar on camera. Big Marco, shout out to you,
your frog.
But so I don't know. I think again it's the and just almost similar to what you're saying. I just think it's just women's need to buy back power or to attain power that has been lost or that has been diminished or
purposely diminished.
Yeah. So but as she said, there are so many other entities that we can connect to. I'm not at all discouraging anyone if that's what they want to do. But I just want to, I'll say this, is that people need to be careful of what they are using their money to purchase because everything is not worth it. And, some people are going to stand 10 toes down and say, that Ifi told me I had to do this. I've personally never seen a message from Ifi that said that someone needs to initiate too. And then the fact that you have women out here who are announcing it, who are basically wearing it as a badge when it is believed that even if you are a part of any type of society of that nature, that it should be secret. It should not be revealed. So when a woman says that I am Iami or I'm initiated to Iami, I just smile and I can stop there.
Because if you are truly that powerful and you have the ability to make change or have the ability to heal or have the ability to to grow people in that regard, then you don't have to announce it.
Right.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Even if, and it is what you were saying, being careful of what somebody is purchasing. You also have to be careful of what you're tapping into,
Mhm.
because you might be stepping into the pail that, or an area that not a lot of people are equipped to help you to come
Right.
back from.
That's it.
Mhm.
So that's important as well.
Some things are mysterious for a reason.
Yep.
Right.
Yes.
And should stay mysterious.
Yep.
I don't know this to be true, but this is what I can tell this story, I hope, safely. When I did my Oshun initiation in 2006, I think it was 2006. One of the Iya that was participating just did a wonderful job, working with me, helping me. And so I'll never forget, I went back a few years later because I wanted to gift her. And I remember going back to the compound and I'm asking the men, like, where is this Iya? And I'm showing her picture. Where's this Iya? And it says, she's dead. And I'm like, oh. So then they was like, oh, you didn't know? And I was like, no. And I thought they were asking me, you didn't know she was dead. They were asking me, you didn't know that her life, that she wouldn't be here with us long. And so when I got them to explain, so you remember the tattoos, the cuts under her eyes. And I was like, yeah. And it's like, she was a part of this spiritual group and, that we're speaking of right now. And there's a pact that they make to the reasons for the cuts. Maybe I'm talking too much. You know how to tell me to shut up. You do it anyway. But that basically there's another thing that you do is that because if you want to see so bad, your physical vision will be removed and you will be blind. And, and so that you can see spiritually. And so and the same thing, you promise to, go back and return to, the rightful space at an earlier time than you probably wanted to. And so, and when I was told that, I've also seen it happen on our side where a lady was initiated into that group and she wrote a book and she was gone soon after that. So it's almost like I just, I don't know. I just don't think that is a wise thing to do. Just, I don't chase power. I don't recommend that any woman chase power in that way because there's a lot of power in Egbe worship. A lot of power, especially for those women who want to, utilize and, enhance their intuition. Connect with Egbe. It's much better, much safer.
It's safer.
That's it. That's all I'm saying.
As the kids say, find something safe to do.
Find something safe to do.
Find something safe to do.
Kika! Yeah, for sure. So for our audience members that are watching, let's say that they are, they're going, I know when I first got into the traditions and if I got a reading and it was like, you got to go out to the Iami, I'd be scared. Like, I would, like, especially when I was new.
I get it.
I would be scared because it was like, do this and then get out of there. You know what I mean? And I was just like, oh my God. I would really have anxiety, y'all, like for real. Whenever I had to do an Iami appeasement, I would have anxiety. I would go dig my hole way in the morning, and I would be in and out.
You can run in there at night.
Like, and I really had to. I had one of my friends would be like, you gotta calm down. And I was like, I realized that I had anxiety around
right.
it. Because I had not, I think at that point, there was a level of work and understanding of myself that I had not done yet, which is why, like we keep saying that, in this tradition, you have to dig deeply into who you are. Right. And having more self-awareness of you. Having more self-awareness, period. So for people that are like, say, in approaching the Iami or in appeasing the Iami, like, what are some pointers? What are some important things for them to know and to understand as they're doing that? Like you mentioned the eggs and the palm oil, like even if they are, if I tell them to go, leave an offering to the Iami, how should they approach? Like what should that look like? I remember you giving me specific. I'm digging, but I'm like there's specific advice that I have gotten from you in the past that was helpful.
Yeah.
I'll let you start with that.
So I would tell people, don't tarry. Don't go out there and just roll around and, you know, dance in the pale moonlight or anything like that. You know, I would definitely say, you know, to make sure that when you are approaching the Iyami, that the things that you are praying for, that you have those things. You know, I have a tendency that I've gotten a little bit older and gotten a better understanding of the Iyami for myself and not what has been told to me. That I tend to take my time a little bit more now. It's still, you know, it's still kind of spooky at night, but you know, but I do have a tendency, you know, to be very grateful, to be very gracious, you know, asking them, you know, very in a very humble way, you know, to assist me, humility, you know, within with whatever aims that I have. These are not forces that you can command and send on a mission. You know, it's not like that. You know, you do have to approach them with a good level of respect. But if you give them, you know, the things that they like, if you know, take your time in terms of formulating what you're going to ask for and talk to them nice, if you will.
Talk to me nice.
You know, that then they, you know, they will offer you protection and assistance in life. So, you know, I would definitely say, you know, don't be afraid, but make sure that you are going with a you're not going to be out there all night, and you're not going to ask them for frivolous things, and you are going to be about the business of really moving forward. You know, if you're going to ask them for something, to be serious about it.
Yeah.
I would also say, as I said, the Iyami are there when you're doing that ball, even when you're doing reading. And so my approach is do whatever you say you're going to do. And so you have to understand when Dai-Fi is being presented to you. And if I'm saying, do this, don't do this, don't do this. And you're saying, okay, I'll do this. I'll stop doing this. I won't do this anymore. I'll keep doing this. Or maybe I'll need to do this, whatever.
Right.
Whatever those things are, those promises that you're making, keep those promises. And if it maybe also get in the habit of, especially every time you do a ball, you know, give a portion of the abode, you know, have something for the Iyami. Or just make a regular appeasement to Iyami. My practical approach is whatever comfort space that you have in your house or where you do rituals, prayers, whatever, sit on the mat or stand, whatever you want to do. You have your offerings there. You're just praying to the Iyami. This is where you're making your promises. This is what I'm going to do. Even if it is like your goals in life, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this so that I can reach these goals. So it's almost like you're holding yourself accountability because that's what holding yourself accountable because that's what the Iyami are about. Accountability. So whatever you're going to do, don't just go and ask for things. Also express to the Iyami how you're going to acquire those things and how you're going to accomplish those goals. And then, you know, just making sure that you're, you know, just open and truthful. Even if you have offended someone, it's okay to say, Iyami, you know, I've offended this person, whether it's a man or woman, because it's not, you know, a lot of people, that's the other myth. A lot of people just think the Iyami are just for women. No, you know, there are male and female entities in that space. And so that's why I emphasize treat other humans right. I'm not just talking about women here. Right. But women are important. That's why we're here in this podcast. But I'm just saying, you treat human beings right. And so, and if you've offended someone, when you are making your appeasement, stand up to it, face it. This is what I've done. You know, I've offended this person's spirit. You know, give me grace. Let me, you know, and then again, because that's going to force you to make another promise. I won't do this anymore to anyone else. And so that's part of it. And also it's just important to know what you're offering, why you're offering, which is a plethora of things. So like I talked about the eggs. You can do echo and also give palm oil there because and every time you'll see the palm oil there, the echo is there because again, the goal is for you to total accomplishment. You do the echo, which is a staple, which is you want to have the staples in life, whatever is going to make your life more comfortable at that time. Give echo. and pray for, hey, I need stable home. I need stable relationship. I need stable friendships. I need stable business, whatever it is. And when you're offering that for stability or for you to always have the resources you need. And then you can also come to the other side and you can say, hey, I need to do this fresh meat, for whatever, because sometimes we do have enemies that attack us.
It's true.
So it's important you cover that meat or the insides of the animal, whatever. Even if you're not using, live animals, you can get liver, chicken gizzards, things like that from the inside of an animal. Also cover it with palm oil and just ask Iyami, don't eat my insides. I'm the person here pleading with you. And whatever you say after that is your own business. But, just again, for when you're dealing with enemies, and I'm not saying fighting.
You don't have to fight.
You don't have to fight, but you can sometimes return to sender.
And that is
because
also true.
even the post office returned to sender.
And that is
sometimes
the
it's
truth.
Yes.
So, so it depends on what your reason is for doing this. So you're sitting on your mat, you have these things, you prepared these things, you're having this conversation. You're being accountable for the people you offended. You're also letting them know what your goals are and the promises that you want to keep. And then when you're finished at the right time, before midnight preferred, take it out you can take it to the junction, a 3-way, and leave it there. And also you can leave it on a pile of trash. And it's a couple of reasons. If you want to go to the junction, it's because the Iami is sitting there in that, just like Eshu, just like Ekpe. All of these entities, this is Ileorita is their place. And so Ajogun is on one side, your house is on the other. Iyami is in the middle. So you have all this food or all of these offerings that they have. They're going to eat their portion, of course. The Ajogun that are trying to get to your house, the Iyami are going to say, eat this, take this, and go drink this, and go mind your business. But all of the blessings that you're praying for at that time, the Iyami will open that side of the road. So let the Ire go to this person's house. Ajogun, I'm going to send you back to our abode. Go back now. Here's this thing. This lady is give you, leave her alone. This man is give you, leave her alone. And so, that's I guess one way, that I can. I'm a teacher, so I can't help it. But that's what I can tell you to do.
That's good advice. The like I was telling you that I had anxiety for a long time. And something that I learned to do was I like to write, right? I know everybody is not into writing, but the Iyami is the only energy that I write to, right? I like to gather my thoughts before I go outside. It's like it's a part of my Iyami ritual. Like you said, I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna write what I'm asking for assistance with. And I'm also going to, I like to plead for favor, right? So that's the thing that I'm like, so in this request, I'm just asking for your favor because like you said, like you're the police, you could decide like how this goes, right? Then I am asking for favor. And something that just another little piece of advice, if you know your character ain't right, you know what you did yesterday. You know what you said, right? You know what you thought about. You know what I mean? You know how it went down,
right?
I wouldn't go out there.
I wouldn't either.
I just wouldn't.
I wouldn't either. I would pray for forgiveness.
There you go.
I said, try to straighten that out with another entity. But I wouldn't do that because the Iyami again, are concerned with justice. They're about that business. And even for people who have been unjustly accused or falsely accused or gossiped about or talked about or or accused of things that they haven't done, that you can find your refuge with the Iyami, and, because they will straighten it out. So it's important to, like you said, to have good character when you're doing that. And that's, and as you said, when you pray for favor, well, what tips the scale in your favor? Good character.
There you go. Right. Right. That part.
And you also the things that you don't want in your home, in your space, in your, whatever around you anymore. That's why the trash pile is good when you're appeasing Iyami, because anything that you want to throw away, that you want to trash, that you don't want to return to your space.
Mhm.
I don't want this anymore. I don't want anxiety anymore. So when I'm praying to Iyami, I'm talking about you and this anxiety thing, but you say you pass it now, right?
Yeah, she's passing.
So, but I'm just giving you an example. So then I will be praying for this anxiety to go.
Mhm.
And so when I finish with, praying over this, offering that anxiety, that lack of organization, the being overwhelmed, overworked, underpaid, whatever. I'm praying to Iami to get rid of those things. Don't let those things come back and get rid of them for good. And I would take it and put it on a pile of trash. And so, just like anything, you just where you place your offerings and where your offerings are significant to this type of work.
Yes.
So
that's
my part.
That's good. What about, so Iya, I know you have, written books. We've been around for, like what are some resources? And this is the time. It's totally the time for plug, right? Plug. Like what are some resources that people can use to learn more about the Iyami for and I love Baba Eleboiban had his book, right? And I'm appreciative of Baba Eleboiban's book. But for a while, right? Like that was the book, that was the resource that was there.
Right.
Maybe you can go to other women, right? I have found other women to be more resourceful than anything, with the Iyami. So like what are some resources that people can look towards?
I was gonna definitely plug Iya's book.
Hold this up, yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay. Show the people.
Which camera am I holding this up?
This
right
one.
there.
Yes.
And so even on the back, of course, I pay homage to my Oluwo, Baba Fakayo Defani, and also the Yoruba, Baba Ifayemi Eleboiban. It's very important in my journey and all of our journeys as well.
Absolutely.
And his book, what was the name of Baba's book?
The
Invisible, not forces. The invisible world, something about the metaphysical. What can I call it?
The invisible.
I've read it like 4 times.
Why is it? Listen, I can look it up.
Please do.
And the thing about
to plug Baba's book.
Yeah, absolutely. Baba Raba's book. The thing that I love about his books is that they're layered with a lot of information that you are going to kind of uncover at various stages of your journey. So, I remember reading a Patebi a long time ago and, kind of took it at face value. And then when I returned to, any of his books, then it's like, oh, I have more understanding.
Yeah.
It's like, it's really deep, the way that he writes those books.
The invisible powers of the metaphysical world.
Okay. Yes. We were all hitting around.
We're like the invisible.
Yes. But yeah, that's a very good resource. And like I said, Iya's books, all of Iya's books are very good.
And they're written in plain English. I love that for us.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because having resources and having, and again, books tip the iceberg, right? This is a tradition where we have to be in it, right?
Right.
But, us on this side, this is how we've learned to learn, right? We've learned to learn through reading and books, which are important. So those books being written in a way that we can understand, where we can comprehend, like you as a teacher, Ekushe, thank you so much for taking the time and the energy to produce the suite of books that you have.
Yes,
because they are very, very helpful on subjects that like everybody wasn't touching on.
I think the best source for people in the community to learn more about Iyami is to connecting with some Iyanifa. I'm definitely not downplaying the importance of the men, because I believe in a balance. But because it is a feminine entity, I want to say, because Iyanifa, I think that you all.
What you mean, you all? I like that. Funny. Right. You guys.
I think you guys, but I think that your experiences, even at Petebi, I think your experiences tell it all.
Mhm.
And it's just like speaking from a woman's perspective, just about life in general.
Okay.
All of that is when I'm listening to Nifa speak on any subject matter, is all training. Is for what it means to be able to honor and to be able to connect with Iyami. And that's just, it's just that simple. Just the way you your incantation, your prayers, your caring, your nurturing, and also your scolding. That's all of that goes into this same box. And we don't know, or we don't have to call it a thing, but it's a thing.
Yes. Yes.
So
right. And I agree with you on that. Again, seek the wise women. Seek the counsel of the wise women. Men, while they understand it in a different kind of a way. And they're going to approach it in a different kind of a way. Whereas, a woman is going to give you, those kind of aspects that men would miss, if you will. So, yeah, absolutely. Seek the wise women.
I agree.
So, out there in podcast land, I want you all to really, I want y'all to know what a gift it is to have these women here. Because I say this because I know it to be true. They don't mess with everybody. They don't. They don't mess with everybody, right? I ain't telling no lies. I cannot lie if I said so. And for them to be here and share with us and share with you, and share with this space, I'm really, really appreciative of you all bringing your years of experience.
Yes, absolutely. Happy to be here.
Your years of experience, your years of study. That is something that has come from this podcast over and over again. The necessity of women studying, right?
Yes.
And knowing, because that is the thing that is going to bring more more wise women, right?
Yes.
Is you having the knowledge and being willing to share it. So Ekushe, thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I want everybody to, before we end this thing, I want everybody to pay attention what's happening in society. It is the era of the women.
It's true.
It's happening right before our eyes.
It is.
Don't take Kamala Harris's. It wasn't. It wasn't a loss.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It was an enlightenment, and I hope that it was inspiration for women of all ages and from all backgrounds, not just Black women, but all women, that we have at least an opportunity that is being granted to us from Olodumare to stand in our rightful place in every aspect of society. And when it comes down to African spirituality, there has been so many years of not only are we cooking, we're serving the plates, we're moving the tables and the chairs, we're planning events, we're doing everything, but very, very seldom are we asked to come to the front and lead the ceremony. And so I am just putting it out there to all women, especially the ones who are young or who are new coming up in this. Partner yourself, connect and link with a woman who has walked this walk.
Yes,
absolutely. So that, you don't have to experience the hardships that we had to experience to be sitting at a table like this, to be even able to speak. Because it used to be, ask Baba, like a Tina Turner, Ike Turner type thing. Ask Baba. Baba knows best, things like that. And Baba certainly knows best, whoever Baba is. But there are also moments when Iya knows best.
It's true.
So I just want to put that out.
That's very true.
And 2 years ago, I don't remember the Odu, but 2 years ago, when the Odu fell for the reading of the year, it talked about the switch. And I felt like people were glancing over that shit. Because when I saw it, I was like, are we not going to talk about that this actually says that women are going to step into leadership and that more women should be leading? Like nobody's,
they didn't
no
pay
takers,
attention.
nobody's going to say.
They didn't pay attention, and look what God did. He gave us sexy red. Hello, amen. It is what it is.
But no,
so you don't listen to God. God will bring you sexy red, and there it is.
Yes, but as you said, I think that's, and as you said as well, that I think that women are, it's our time. It's our time. And with that time, it also comes with the responsibility of, like you said, to study and preparing oneself to step into that role as well. But it's our time.
So see, I asked y'all before they started. I was like, I don't know what we're gonna pray about on this episode. I'm not sure. So let us pray for the women. Let us pray for our time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let us pray for to touch the women who are knowing. Maybe you know that you're supposed to be leading something. Maybe it's in your spirit, and you're a little scared. Y'all, I do this podcast scared AF every week. Every week.
Yeah.
Scared AF.
But
scared
you're doing
all,
it.
but
You're doing it, girl.
because the shrine was like, ma'am, nobody cares anymore. Like, let's go. Right? There's something to do. Let's do it. If you're not gonna do it, I told y'all that at the Egg Bay thing, they was like, if you're not gonna do it, then come on home, friend. And I was like, no, I'd like to stay. I'd like to stay. And so yeah, like let's pray for women to take our time and to step into our roles.
Mm.
Start with the elder lady. Let's go.
I love y'all's friendship. It's the best.
Yeah, it's so ratchet.
It's the best.
Well, I want to pray to, of course, first Olodumare, the creator of all, and the vastness of all of her power. That, and also in name of the Iyami, and also that women begin to embrace their inherent power. Then women start to be comfortable in the seat of power. And as we create, and do a new world and deal with and put away outdated modalities that don't serve us any longer, that we are emboldened, that we are supported, and that we definitely give the support to one another in those spaces.
And I pray that the women in our community and beyond are equipped with balance, that we don't let the men fall to the wayside as we're continuing to trying to elevate ourselves, that we are able to develop good partnerships, good collaboration with our men, so that we can equally shine, accomplish our goals. And it's like the Iami promised us total accomplishment. Let us have good character. Let us treat one another with high regard and love. And let her pray to the Iami to dispel some of the hate in the world.
I say yes. You all, that brings us to the close of this episode of Voices of IWA. Please like, comment, and share this episode. We are convening, we are getting together, we are gathering on Saturday, March 29th at the Ivy Center in Atlanta, Georgia. Look below to click on the link below, and you will see that we are celebrating, we are planning, right? This is an opportunity. We have an opportunity right now to, especially those of us in the traditions, to do something powerful together. It is an opportunity. So if you are one of those people that feel moved, you feel like, no, there's something that I need to do, and I need to be around like-minded women who are about their business, who actually want to see, who want to know, okay, we're here right now. Here's where we want to be in 3 years. Here's where we want to be in 5 years. Here's how we want to use our collective energy to do ritual together, to move us past anything. Nothing can hold us back but ourselves.
It's true.
So if that speaks to you, then click on the link below and come on. I'd love to see you. We'd love to see you. And if not, we will see you next week on another episode of Voices of IWA. Thank you for tuning in.
Can we tell you that you're doing a good job?
Yes,
can we say that?
Yeah,
you're doing a great job. Thank you for this. Thank you for giving this platform to the other women in your community. Good job, girl.
Thank you.
You're doing a great
job.
I
really appreciate that. I really do.
Yep.
I wasn't, I ain't never been sure, you know what I mean? But I do, I have learned to be obedient and follow what Oshun says, what Ifa says, and they were like, do this in this way. And
we
so
are thankful for
yes,
you.
it's true. And what you said
That's it.
earlier was powerful. Do things even if you're scared.
Yep.
Mhm.
AAF. I meant it. AAF. All right, y'all. Odabo.
Odabo.